So hi everyone, my name is Pradeep. So today I am going to talk about a special topic. The topic is maybe you would have gone through or might have known before. It is related to the labor code. So new labor code 2020. So it is all about the regulations or kind of new act that came into picture. So we should aware about that. You might have known before that, but today I am going to share with you now the updates on this. What is labor code? What are the features of this code, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of this code? So without delay, let's get started. So the labor code, India consolidated 29 laws, labor laws into 4 codes. Okay, that 4 codes is called as a labor codes to summarize or to systematically implement this code in the India. This is the 4 labor codes which were implemented in the month of November with effect from 1st November 2025. So let me explain what are the 4 codes. They are mainly, the first code is the Code of Wages 2019. That means the code says that your wages, minimum wages and your bonus. Second, Industrial Relationship. Industrial Relations Code 2020, which talks about your hiring, firing and the trade union. Then the third is your Code of Social Security, which basically talks about your PF, gratuity and the gig workers. Then the fourth, the code is occupational occupational safety, health and the working conditions, which talks about your working condition and the health of the employees. So these are the major codes which were implemented in the recent era, past, I would say in the November 2025. So let me explain the key features of this code. So the first features is universal minimum wages for all categories of employees. Second, your new labor or wage definitions, which includes PF, gratuity and other compensation as well. Then third is your social security extended to the gig workers or platform workers. Fourth, I would say it's a fixed term employment with the benefits to the all employees. Then the fifth is your easy hiring firing concept or the rules. Then sixth is your compulsory formal appointment to all employees. Okay. Then the last features but not least, I would say 12 hours of employment or 12 hours of a work day with a capping of 48 hours in a week. That means an employee can work maximum 48 hours in a week, but maximum 12 hours in a day. So that kind of rules came into picture in the recent code. So now coming to the next, that is advantages or the cons of this code. The main advantages of this code is your simplification of the labor rule. Why do I say simplification? Because the 20 laws subsum or it is consolidated into 4 codes. So it is easy to implement and reduce the compliance burden, or I would say the complexity of the legal prosecution or kind of legal complications that can be reduced. Then second, I would say boost ease of doing business. So in the sense, like as I mentioned, so without any prior approval of the authority, employee can hire 300 employees without any formal power from the authorities. So in that way, I would say it is a ease of doing business that will help the employer to recruit the employees. Then the third, I would say universal wage protections. That means the minimum wages is applicable for all categories employees. There is no geographical barrier, or there is no, I would say diversity or kind of disparity among all or kind of employees. Then the fourth advantages is your wider social securities. Wider social security in the sense the social security got extended to the gig workers, or I would say the platform worker, especially those employees working for the Swiggy, Zomato or Flipkart, Amazons. So they are all covered under this code. Then the last but not least, the advantages is your worker welfare improvements. So worker welfare improvement in the sense now the pay provisions is equal for everyone. There is no distinctions among other categories of workers. Second, the gratuity provision is applicable for all categories of employees. The third, there is a special or specific norms included in this code, that is your health checkup, your safety and security norms, which is part of this code. So these are the major advantages of this code. Now coming to the disadvantages of this code. The disadvantages these are broadly categorized into 6. The first is your employee or job security concerns. Why do I say it is a security concern? Because as I rightly mentioned, the employee can hire and fire up to 300 employees easily without any prior approval. So there is a concern or the risk from the employee side. So employer have right, or employers have right to fire or lay off at any point of time. From that perspective, I would say. Then second, I would say we can trade union. We can trade union in the sense there is a strict provisions or rules against the strike. You can't easily go for a strike without any prior approval or notification from the government side. So this kind of restrictions are there in the code. Then the third, I would say there is a I would say what exactly, higher compliance cost. Higher compliance cost from the employer side. Why? Because since all the employers or employees are getting covered under this act, so the provision of gratuity, leave encashments, your PF, these are also applicable for all the employees. That means the administrative costs are higher as compared to the earlier. So from the employer side, it is a higher administrative cost. Then the next is your possible reduction of your take home salary, because of this code the employee has to contribute a small portion of their salary towards the gratuity, leave encashment, or the provident fund. That means your take home salary will gradually decrease. Okay. Then the last but not least, I would say your limited benefit for informal employees. Why do I say the limited benefit for the informal employees? Because this code covers all this exists, or all the existence of the provisions and subsum into the 4 codes. But the thing is, this is a new codes. We don't know how it is going to be implement, or the outcome from this code. It is not so easy, and especially for the migrant worker, it is not easy to avail the benefit from this code, because they are not fixed or the constant on a particular place throughout the years. So they may be moved here and there throughout the year. So in that case, they will not, or it is hard to get the benefit of this code. Then the last but not least, I would say implementation changes. Since this is a new code and it is hard to implement across the country, especially in other northern states where the employees are not well literate, or kind of to make them understand it is not so easy, and there is an uncertainty about the implementations. So how the result will come in future, that is the question from everyone in their mind. So now there is an uncertainty about these provisions. So because of that reason, I would say there are a couple of advantages also there and disadvantages of this code. So this is a small information about this labor code. So if you would like to get more insights of this code, you can Google it, or you can refer the government websites for this. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Thank you.